Welcome to Football with Cheese. So in this video, we continue our series of doing 32 teams in 32 days where we're very optimistic. We're going to hype up your team and tell you all the things that can go right. And we conclude the NFC East videos talking all about the Philadelphia Eagles. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell for notification so you never miss one of my videos. I do cover all 32 teams on this channel. So the Philadelphia Eagles are pretty easy to figure out. When it's an even year like 2022, 2024, they win 14 games and they go to the Super Bowl. When it's an odd year, they win 11 games and their offense collapses at the end of the year. Well, good news for Eagles fans. It's an even year. So of course they're going to go 14-3 and of course they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, numbers don't lie, right? But the good news for the Eagles offense is Kevin Petula is gone. And they hired up-and-coming coach Sean Mannion. Talked a little about him in yesterday's video, how all these failed backup quarterbacks become offensive coordinators by the time they're like 29, 30, 31. It's like we can tell you're not very good at football, but you know a lot about offense. So we're going to quickly make you an assistant coach, and you're going to rise through the ranks. And we have Davis Webb with the Broncos, obviously Sean Mannion with the Eagles, and David Blau with the Commanders. So Sean Mannion comes over for Green Bay. I did not want to lose him. In fact, I wanted the Packers to fire Adam Stenavich as offensive coordinator and hire Sean Mannion. But Stenavich and LaFleur are probably good buddies, so he's not going to fire his buddies even though he's a terrible coach. So Sean Mannion comes over from the Eagles. Really good hire. I like the changes he's going to make. He's going to do a lot more under center, which will help Saquon Barkley, help the running game. There's going to be a lot more play action, a lot more pre-snap motion. And I think this is such a good fit for what the Eagles do. The one problem with being under center a lot is you take away Jalen Hurts' design runs. It's much easier to do that out of the shotgun. He's not going backwards. So that's the only issue I might have with it. But I'm sure they'll do plenty of shotgun as well. But they need to get the running game going again. Saquon Barkley's numbers really dropped off. And Jalen Hurts, let's talk about him. He was a Super Bowl MVP a couple years ago. We've seen him look like a top 5 quarterback through stretches. In other stretches, he doesn't look like a top 20 quarterback. I think Sean Mannion will get the most out of him. Eagles fans are hoping so. I would like to see him throw the ball over the middle a little bit more. And I think this under center, play action, rollout scheme will help him. And I know losing A.J. Brown hurts. There's no one on the team as good as A.J. Brown as a receiver. And even when you're not passing the ball, A.J. Brown, he's such a great player that you have to know where he is if you're a defense. However, it might be better off for Jalen Hurts to not have him on the team. Obviously, he complained a lot. He wanted to be involved more. And Brown probably wasn't that great a fit to the offense anyway. But you have Devontae Smith, who I think will have a very good season. You drafted Mekhi Lemon in the first round. You traded for Dontavian Wicks, who can be a number 3. The thing with Wicks is there were stretches in Green Bay where he looked like he was going to be very good. And I think what hurt him is on a week-to-week basis, you never know what his role was going to be because they had 5 or 6 receivers they like to play. So I think he'll have that role as the number 3 guy throughout the whole year. I think that will help him. He's not very fast, but he's a very good route runner. And Darius Cooper has looked very good in camp. I don't know what you're going to get out of Hollywood Brown, Elijah Moore. I wouldn't count on anything. So the receiving core, while you don't have A.J. Brown, I think it's a deeper group, and I think it will allow Jalen Hurts to spread the ball out more. So he doesn't have to force the ball into A.J. Brown's hands. And you have Dallas Goedert. You drafted Eli Stowers in the 2nd round. Still have no idea how he fell that far. The big issue for the Eagles will be is the offensive line, especially Cam Jurgens and Tyler Steen at center and right guard. If they play well, if they take the next step, then this offensive line, maybe not as good as it was a few years ago, but it still can be a much better offensive line than it was last year. And we know they're amazing at the other 3 positions, both tackle spots, Landon Dickerson at left guard. And I got to mention my boy, Willie Lampkin. He's really small for an offensive lineman. He's about 5'10", 270 pounds, but he was so good in college at North Carolina as a center. I don't know why the Rams released Lampkin. Good job of the Eagles to get him. Somehow, he will be a starter in his career. Somehow. I don't care if he's undersized. He's just too good. So the offense should be much better, in my opinion, than last year, despite losing A.J. Brown. And we know the defense should be amazing. They don't have a weak group on this team. The defensive line is Jalen Carter, recently extended, Jordan Davis, and Moro Ajomo to go along with Byron Young. And then at edge rusher, you add Jonathan Gennard from the Vikings. That's a really good pickup. And Zach Bond and Jihad Campbell, that's an amazing duo at middle linebacker. At safety, you have Andrew Makuba, who was a really good second-round pick last year. And then the combination of Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, and Reek Woolen at corner should be amazing. So the defense, on paper, looks like a top 10 unit for sure, maybe top 5. The key with the Eagles will be they've got to run the ball better, work the play action, and Jalen Hurts will be fine. Not having a running game probably hurt Jalen Hurts as much as anyone on this team last year. So let's check the over-under 10.5. Well, we just talked about it. They win 14 games every time it's an even year. So of course they're going to go over 10.5. Of course they are. So let me know in the comments down below, why is hardly anybody picking the Eagles to win the NFC? Why is it all about the Rams and Seahawks? And do you think they're on that level? If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. Really helps at the channel. Once again, cover all 32 teams. And Mike and I, we do the Lights Out podcast Tuesdays, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. So make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you do not miss it. Check out these videos on the screen if you have not. And I'll see you in the next video.